We've got breaking news into CBS Sports HQ, where the College Football Playoff Committee has approved a major change for the 2025 season. And this has been confirmed by our very own Brandon Marcello. So this year's playoffs will feature straight seeding, eliminating first-round byes for the 4 highest-ranked conference champions. So instead, the top 4 seeds, as determined by the committee, will receive first-round byes regardless of their affiliation with leagues and conferences. So the change was unanimously approved by the 10 FBS conferences, along with Notre Dame. So for more on this seeding shift, let's bring in the one and only Brandon Marcello. And Brandon, I know you are a very busy guy right now, and there's a lot of different changing things in college football, as there always is with the landscape. But ultimately, Brandon, in terms of this seeding, what ultimately led to this change being made?
Well, they kind of just want to test it out, right? I mean, it just seems like they want to test things out year to year. This is a one-year stopgap, right? Because in 2026, they're going to be looking to expand the playoff to 14 teams or 16 teams. Most likely 16 teams will be the answer, with quite a few automatic qualifiers. But the way it stands now, as we saw from last year, we had 12 teams. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions were assured byes. Well, that's no more. Only thing assured in this new seeding for 2025 is the 5 highest-ranked conference champions will be in the playoff, but you'll go in based off of where you're ranked, 1 through 12. So this past year, you would have seen 2 different teams there getting first-round byes than you would have in the usual years. So we're getting a look at what things could be in 2026 and beyond. But again, 26 and beyond are going to look a lot more different, where we're going to see as many as 4 automatic qualifiers apiece from the Big Ten and SEC, and maybe 2 apiece from the ACC and Big 12 as well. Yeah,
so to piggyback off of that, Brandon, if we're looking ahead to 2026, we're talking about expansion, potentially 16 teams that are in the college football playoff. I know you said this is just kind of a stopgap, but right now, is it going to have any impact down the line on 2026, or are you viewing this as kind of 2 separate things, where this seeding is what it's going to look like for now, and then we'll get to 2026 when we get there?
Everything in these boardrooms and negotiations have purpose. And for my discussions over the last couple of weeks, when we first broke this story that approval was coming last week, we expected that the ACC and Big 12 were kind of maneuvering here to maybe get some better things down the road for 26 and beyond. Because as I said, the ACC and Big 12 are only going to get 2 automatic qualifiers in the current proposal for 26 and beyond, whereas the Big Ten and SEC are going to get twice as that with 4 apiece. So there's some discussion happening here. Also some financial considerations going forward as well. If the Big 12 and ACC kind of give something up, they want something back in return, and that could happen as soon as we see this year with some financial help, but also in 26 and beyond. Another thing to look at here is not necessarily just the format, but in 2028, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark has been stressing to everybody that there's a look-in with the CFP, and that then they could change the payout structure. So let's say the ACC or the Big 12 have more people in the playoff than they were expecting. Well, then that would demand more money for them in the future, starting in 2028. So the ACC and Big 12 know the SEC and Big 10 have the controlling voting power, but they're giving some things up right now to set themselves up, hopefully for them, to have more strength and power in the boardrooms in the next coming years.
That's what it all comes down to, right? Strength, power, and of course, money. We can't forget that. So we know this was unanimously decided by, or approved, excuse me, by the 10 FBS conferences, plus Notre Dame. So when you're looking at that, who is ultimately benefiting from this new seeding shift the most, Brandon?
You know, to be quite honest, the SEC and the Big Ten, right? Because they would have more teams getting first-round byes there in the top 4, because every year practically at least one of those conferences is going to have 2 in the top 4. And this past year, you would have had quite a few in there. In fact, you would have had 2 from each conference, as you're seeing on the screen right now. That would mean more money, right? Well, that's where the financial compromise comes in. They're not going to change the payout structure necessarily for the conference champion. So if you're a conference champion and you're in the playoff, you're still going to get a higher payout than everybody else. So that's going to remain. It's just that this is going to help with these teams getting some more rest in the SEC and Big Ten. Competitively, they get an advantage rather than maybe financially.
But sometimes, rest isn't always a good thing. We saw that with Oregon in the CFP, so we'll have to see. Brandon, we certainly appreciate it joining us here on CBS Sports HQ as we were talking about yet some more breaking news as it pertains to college football. Some changes coming to the seeding format where the top 4 seeds are going to get those first-round byes regardless of their conference affiliation. As we push things ahead to the 25-26 season, getting a look at the odds to win it all, Texas and Ohio State at 6-1. Georgia 7-1, and then we have Oregon and Penn State rounding out those top 5 odds.